What is up everybody, welcome back to the channel, and in this video I'm going to be taking a look at the new Dinka Kanjo SJ, which is going to be a Honda Civic. I would say this is probably one of those vehicles a lot of players have probably been waiting for, and this vehicle does have a lot of customization similar to the Postlude as well, and personally, I do like this car. I do think it's pretty awesome, and funnily enough, it is going to be faster than the Postlude as well. If you guys do want to buy this vehicle, you're going to be looking at around $1.3 million similar to the other car as well, with a trade price around $1 million, so these cars are basically going to be over $1 million regardless, and if you do upgrade it, expect a couple $100,000 tacked onto that. But nonetheless, let's go do a quick outside look of this vehicle right now. Then I do want to take this car on a quick test drive around the city, then we definitely have to do a quick top speed test by the tunnel as well. So now taking a look at the new Dinka here, you guys will see this car also has a lot of detail in the engine bay as well, similar to the Postlude. I do like the fact that Rockstar is allowing us to change some of the engine stuff in these vehicles. Obviously the bottom of the car there is not going to be detailed, but at least you can see the top of the engine, so if you did want to run like a car meet or something like that, you could still show that stuff off, so that is pretty awesome. Obviously the detail of this vehicle is going to be very good as well, because you can make it like a race car. The back's going to be stripped out with like the filters coming out as well, plus you could see the back of the trunk, so I definitely have to give Rockstar credit on a lot of these newer vehicles in these updates, because they actually have a lot of detail to them. We can all agree some of the interiors in the older cars are not going to be that great, but being able to upgrade them similar to this I do think is going to be pretty awesome. Every vehicle is going to be a lot more detailed and giving players a lot more options to do with them. For example, taking a closer look at the interior view of the SJ here after it has been customized, I definitely like the fact that the vehicle is a lot more detailed than some of the other vehicles we have seen. For example, that one SUV is like over $1 million and the interior looks like it's from like 2004. Obviously having the Civic with an older looking interior is going to make sense because this vehicle is older, but being able to customize this like this I do think is pretty awesome. Obviously you can also argue that some of the cars are going to have the exact same customization, but at least it gives all the players a different option to really make these cars look like theirs. Now just in case you might have been wondering, by the way, the SJ here is also going to be front wheel drive just like the recently added Postlude as well, which is going to make a lot of sense considering these vehicles are going to be front wheel drive in real life. But then again, I'm sure a lot of players do love the Civic, so I'm personally a big fan of the Type R in real life. I think that car is awesome. And now we have the older Civic in the game as well, so I'm sure a lot of players also noticed that this car is going to be faster than the Postlude, which I found that to be kind of interesting because that vehicle in the city with bumps was hitting 120, and this vehicle seems like it can basically do the exact same thing, and both cars pretty much have a very similar aspect when it comes to customization as well, so it really does depend if you guys want to collect both and or get one of them. It really does depend on what you actually like there. But personally, I do think this car is pretty awesome. It does obviously remind me of a lot of the vehicles I do see around. I know people love bringing built Civics to car shows, which I really do respect that. Everybody does like their own thing when it comes to vehicles like that, so if they do find a passion in that, I would definitely say go pursue that no matter what. Now I have to admit, by the way guys, oh my goodness, pedestrian, that's not very nice, and he blew my headlight out, my goodness. But one thing I do have to admit though is I do think this Civic is pretty awesome, because for one, it obviously looks very close to the real life counterpart Civic for that matter, and I really do think Rockstar is doing a great job with these vehicles in these updates. And if you guys might have been wondering, by the way, this vehicle is going to get up to speed very quickly, similar to the Postlude as well. I noticed this car can get to 100 miles an hour very fast, and what was kind of surprising to me is this is also going to be a coupe, so I really wasn't expecting it to be this. Oh my goodness, that's what happens when you run red lights. Everybody take notes, do not run a red light, my goodness. But regardless, I have noticed this vehicle getting up to speed very quickly. Now, I'm sure by driving the vehicle you guys have noticed as well that you're going to hear that turbo sound. For one, I personally thought the Civic was going to sound like the ones we hear at 3 AM pretty much driving down the street, and or the ones who basically step on it with like a stock car and a really big exhaust pipe on the back, and then they're pretty much stepping on it and the car's not moving, but you pretty much hear that thing from like down the other side of town. But nonetheless, again, I guess if you like that, that's all that matters, and a lot of players are probably going to do the Fast and Furious build on this vehicle, which I definitely do not blame you. I really do like the fact that Rockstar does give us options to do that with these cars, and it really does make them yours. and or really build some awesome vehicles and definitely build up some really cool collections as well. Basically having like garages full of vehicles from like movies and all that, which is really cool. I would definitely say Grand Theft Auto is one of the craziest racing games I've ever played, even though it's really not an actual racing game for that matter. But now jumping onto the highway here with the Civic, so right now hitting the bumps, I'm obviously jumping over to almost 120 miles an hour, and right there I did hit it as well. So for a coupe, this car is also going to be really fast as well, and I personally do enjoy driving these around. I personally don't know if a lot of players are going to use these in missions and all that, but then again, you could pretty much use any vehicle you would like, and I'm sure a lot of players on next gen are probably running the other vehicles with the high-end upgrade, making them do 160 miles an hour. I personally would love to see some of these other vehicles, like this car for example, having that upgrade on it as well. I think that would be pretty cool. Imagine flying down the road in the SJ doing 160 miles an hour. Now, obviously, this vehicle is probably going to be really hard to drive considering it is front-wheel drive going that crazy speed on the physics of GTA, but I feel like it would be a lot more fun than anything else. But regardless, guys, let's head over to where the tunnel is, and I'll give you guys my final thoughts on this vehicle, plus a little quick top speed test, even though the odometer in this game really does not make any sense. So now arriving over to where the tunnel is here in Sandy Shores, I do want to do a quick top speed test and give you guys my final thoughts on this vehicle. So obviously the odometer, as I did mention before, is probably not going to be very accurate with the top speed of this vehicle, but from what I could see the car was doing around 110 or a little bit faster than that on the other side of the highway, which will definitely make this vehicle just a little bit faster than the Postlude. But then again, I kind of think they did that car a little bit dirty doing the first gen or whatever it might be. I know the newer gen probably looks a little bit better, but then again, the Honda Civic is also a very cool car and also very iconic as well. So now taking a quick glance at the odometer here, now I do know this thing is obviously not going to be that accurate, but it does look like this vehicle is going to be averaging around 110 miles an hour, which is honestly going to be pretty dang good for this vehicle being a coupe, and I did find the Postlude to be pretty similar. But regardless, guys, I would say the SJ here is definitely going to be worth a look. I have a feeling a lot more people are going to buy this vehicle over the Postlude, but if I did have to guess, I would say a lot more players are probably going to buy the SJ over the Postlude because I think a lot more people are going to like the Civic over the older Prelude there. But then again, it probably does come down to what you really do like overall. But let me know what you guys think about the SJ in the comments below, because I do have to admit, I think this car is definitely pretty awesome, and I do think a lot of players are going to like this thing.
Rather safe than sorry, I guess. Think long and hard. Life is hard when you can have anything. Making decisions is stressful. You got some machine under that bonnet. If you can think it, I can do it. Whatever you desire. Technology and budget permitting. Do you need a drink? Bubbles or something? How many cars you got in this garage again? There you go. I've got that installed for you. No rush at all. Life is hard when you can have anything. Don't she look pretty? Girl is looking good. Making decisions is stressful. Look at her now. If you can think it, I can do it. That what you were looking for? Whatever you desire. Technology and budget permitting. Do you need a drink? Bubbles or something? Bodywork to match the driver.
Life is hard when you can have anything.